רוצה לנצל את 10 דקות הקצרות של סיכום המושב הזה כדי לשאול ככל שהזמן יתיר וככל שהתשובות שלכם תאפשרנה 2-3 שאלות מסכמות. With your permission, I'd like to ask 3 or 4 summarizing questions. I thank you all for being observant and keeping the time. The first question is raising an ethical issue that has not been raised as of yet, with the exception of one wink of yours, Ronen, having to do with the relationship of Internet of Things and all of these wonderful doodads and games and toys to privacy. If we're going to implement these tools in the classroom, if we're going to bring them into the home, if we're going to attach children and students to them, and they are going to record and report and make available for the future information about the students, מה יהיה על הפרטיות? בית המשפט העליון אצלנו לפני חצי שנה העלה את הפרטיות למדרגת ערך כל כך גבוה שהוא דוחה אפילו ערכים אחרים. מה המשחק בין הטכנולוגיות האלה ובין פרטיות?
עברית, אנגלית? English, okay. So, I can talk for hours about privacy. I'll be very short. I think that privacy, I think the next few years, probably the next 2 to 5 years, will decide what's more important for us, privacy or the benefits we can get from technology. Even today, we are getting lots of benefits from technology that are probably compromising our privacy to some degree, some to a higher degree, some to a lower degree. But we are getting the benefits. Without disclosing any details, for example, about myself, where I live, where I go, it will be harder for us as technology providers to provide the service and the benefits that consumers want. And it's possible that the consumer would not want the service in lieu of their privacy. It's possible. I don't know how this battle will end up. I know that we'll have to make decisions in the very near future. I think right now that the benefits are becoming bigger and bigger. I think some of us will probably not be able to live without Waze, and Waze obviously knows where we are most of the time. I think it's going to be harder and harder for us as consumers and information workers to give up the benefits that we get, and that we will have to probably give up some of our privacy. But the battle is still out there, and I don't know what the answer is going to be. I only know we will have to decide pretty soon.
Yeah, and so in the IoT World Forum, where we have hundreds of companies coming together, privacy and security were identified as the top big challenges of Internet of Things for the same reasons. It's a mix of, the answer is mixed. First of all, opt-in. A lot of people decide not to opt-in. In ways, you don't need to connect, right? It's your choice. So opting in, our answer to a lot of the applications, just don't opt in if you don't want to expose yourself. The second thing are, what we're looking as an industry is how to build technology interfaces and standards that will help the industry define how do we protect privacy through aggregation of data. So a lot of time we want to use the data analytics to serve the application better, but we don't want to expose that this data came from that person. So aggregation of data is another answer. So I think it's a mix of legal, technology, people opting in or not, that will have to give an answer. But obviously we're seeing more hackers, we're seeing more security opportunities. Internet of Things bring a lot of good, but it also brings opportunities for security breaches and hackers. We'll have to deal with it from a technology perspective, but it's like in everything in technology, people are afraid of it. We always compare it to the Industrial Revolution. People were afraid of jobs going away. There's always threats, and we'll have to, as an industry, figure it out and deal with it.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only thing I would like to add is, I was, not that long ago, I saw a Frontline program. We have this program in the United States called Frontline, and they were talking about the currency of likes. And, younger people nowadays, they're okay with being, you're already there. I have location services on my phone. You know where I am at any time. They know I'm here right now, right? I don't know who they are, but they know I'm here. And so the perception of how you interact is much different with a younger generation than it is with an older generation. There's a currency behind being liked. It's okay. They asked the question, and I thought was really interesting. They said, what does sellout mean to you? And to me, it means it sells you give yourself, your sort of, yourself up for whatever monetary goal you want to gain, right? But for them, they thought, what does that mean? Like the concert there's no more tickets for the concert? One of them said, and that really surprised me as what an idea of sellout is. So I think, it's sort of the mindset. If you grow up with it, you're used to it. Like closed caption TV, and anywhere you go, like in London, for example, they know where I am at any moment that I'm walking the streets in London. I don't think a second about it.
By the way, the water meters in your home can provide all the information about your life. And some people don't want the connected water meter, but they can tell, or electricity meter can tell when you open the fridge, when you take a shower, when you watch TV. There's a lot of information out there that is serving us, but is also a potential risk.
Just one quick example. We have a personal assistant called Cortana on our phones and Windows. And Cortana listens to the music that I listen to. She knows where I am located, and she will tell me where a band that I'm listening to a lot is performing in where I am. Obviously, she knows all the things about me. The benefits for me is huge. I want to know where a band is performing. I'm willing to give up that she knows the songs I'm listening to and where I am. Not everyone will. And the question of opt-in is questionable because I think most people on the planet don't know what opt-in or opt-out is. We do, because we are technologists. Most people don't know. They want the software to work.
So if I hear you correctly, Ronen, go ahead.
I just want to say we might be ignoring a little bit the specifics of this dilemma with the education system, because if we're doing this for students, they don't have the choice, right? And it's no longer me saying I'll use Cortana or Google Now or something, and then or Facebook, and I'm exposed. And it's true. The immediate reaction of people from the industry when you talk about privacy is everybody else is doing it. People are just volunteering everything. When Foursquare started, there was a mocking website called robmenow.com, and it had lists of everybody in your area who just checked out to another place so you can rob their houses. Because just to put a mirror in front of people. So it's true, but when it's the education system, it has to be regulatory. We have to decide what's valuable enough for us to hold. We have to make sure it's secured and encrypted and what have you, so that we're protecting the kids. Remember, these kids will grow up and people will bring from their past their pedagogic achievements or things that the machine knows about them that might create an area of inconvenience.
Same for medical records. That's why you have regulations.
In the traditional internet, there's a lot of discussion about governance and the role of regulation and the role of government. With the Internet of Things, we still have too little of that discussion. And with 4 distinguished representatives of industry, I'd like to probe on that and ask, where do you think regulation needs to be? How do you think government needs to step in, other than just, as you suggest, Ronen, take responsibility in the educational system? Should there be more law? Should there be more intervention? In which case, what kind of more intervention?
It's a loaded question. Nobody wants to pick it up. So I'll take that. We actually do talk a lot about that. We have an internal privacy work group with our legal departments and the technologists coming together. And we also, in our IoT World Forum, bring government officials to have those discussions with us. We do look up to the standard bodies and the bodies that are more used to working with government to come up with some of those suggestions. We don't want to create yet another organization and overlay that will create that, but I do agree with you. I think there is room for better regulations and more of defining the interfaces and the standards around how to deal with that data. And some countries have more experience, especially around healthcare, that we can adopt. There is room for more of those standard bodies and organizations to step in. We're not seeing enough of that yet. I agree on that. I agree to that, and I think maybe it's our responsibility to work with those bodies to define those interfaces. I'm not sure regulation will help. It will help to some degree, but also the APIs and the interfaces and kind of the standards that we can work as an industry to bring it more to the conscious of the developers and how we can solve it in a more standard way.
Only one suggestion. If we do have such regulation bodies and so on, let's put some youngsters in these regulation bodies. Let's not let the older guys make decisions for the people that are actually gonna, go through that period or issue.
So unfortunately, our time is up, and I'd like to thank all of you. I'd like to mention the fact that there are many more questions that need to be addressed to industry, and we should ask ourselves, including questions like, how does all of this apply directly to Israel? Inbar, you made a short reference to this at the beginning of your talk, but most of the discussion was on a global scale. There are local issues that need to be addressed. There are also questions about the last step from the vision and the developed technology before it is introduced or announced or made available to when it is actually implemented. And those are questions I'd like to encourage everyone to come up to the industry representatives during coffee break and actually probe them. Thank you again for your words. Thank you, the audience.